Okay, so today we will start our discussion with seed legislation and quality control. So before I begin, I will just discuss the course outline. So in this particular topic, we are going to discuss or we are going to start our discussion with defining the seed science and technology and the goals of seed science and technology. So, yeah, okay. Uh, my presentation is not visible to you all. Can you see my presentation on the screen? Okay. So, okay, I'll just start again. So, good evening, students. In today's class, we are going to start our discussion with seed legislation and quality control. So, before going to this topic, I'll just discuss the outline. So, the outline contains the definition and the goals of seed science and technology. Then, it's about the insights of the seed sector in the India or the current status of seed industry in India. We are going to I will just give you the overview of the organization, the institutes, and the companies that comes under the purview of the seed industry. So third one, it's policy initiatives in the seed sector, and also we will talk about the history of seed industry in India. How did this seed industry got established in the India? So that we are going to discuss in detail. So after that, we'll start our discussion with the actual legislation part, which is with the Indian Seed Act. So according to the timeline, we'll just discuss the Seed Act, exim policy, seed control order, new policy and seed development, and national seed policy until seed bill. So I have a few more information regarding seed bill and the new seed bill and the amendments to the seed bill. So there are two major amendments for this seed bill, which were in case of 2010 and latest it is of 2019. So we are going to discuss all these seed bills and what were the amendments that were brought to the existing bill. So next we'll talk of variety release in India. So what are the procedures for the variety release in India and what are the organizations that are involved? So at last, we have started our discussion with the seed industry and we have ended up with the variety release. So immediately after the variety release, it's very important for a breeder to protect his variety, right? So for that case, we have a plant protection or plant variety protection that I will give you a detailed overview of what are the provisions under this plant variety protection and what are the conditions for a protection or for applying for the protection of any variety. So this will be the end of today's topic, that is seed legislation and quality control. I don't know whether I will be able to cover all this content in a single class. So we'll go by one and we'll see how much we can cover. So starting with seed science and technology. So how do you define this seed science and technology? So in the broad sense, this is a interdisciplinary science which encompasses the broad range of subjects, which is development of a superior varieties, which is again the breeding program and their evaluation, release, that is identification of a particular variety. And then once the variety is identified, the further process of starts with the seed production. This is the next process where it starts with the seed production. Immediately the variety is released, because I will tell you the why this seed production is very important for us, like how it will impact the yield and all. Okay. So this is about seed production. So once after seed production, next step will be the seed processing. After processing, either it will be sold or it will be stored, that is seed storage. And during the storage, there will be seed testing in order to maintain the quality or regulate the quality of the seeds. So again, with this seed testing, so storage and all, we have a new legislation that is, or we have certain legislation which is seed certification. We can certify our seeds and which will give us a brand name or branding, that is they are certified and we can sell them in the market. So this is about seed certification. So overall, it also talks about seed quality control, seed marketing and distribution. So this is in the broad sense what is seed technology means, right? But in the narrow sense, it's just the techniques of seed production, processing, storage, testing and certification. So this is what seed science and technology in the narrow sense means. So this is the just the meaning of what you understand by what do you mean by this seed science and technology. Okay, what these are all the different areas which are covered under seed science and technology. Okay, so next is about the goals. What is the goal of this seed sensor technology? So the main goal is to increase the agriculture production through the spread of good quality seed. So when I talk about good quality seeds or the quality seeds, do you believe that this quality seed will play a major role in case of yield improvisation or the increase in the yield? Is there any link between the good quality seed and the yield increase? Or the better for performance of the plants or the plants in the field is influenced by the quality of the seeds that we sow? Yes, obviously the quality of the seed will have the impact on the yield. This is not directly, not might be not directly direct impact, but ultimately we will see the production in terms of yields and the harvest, right? So we need the maximum harvest, or we want to harness the maximum potential of the seed. So this is why the seed quality is important. Why? Because if the quality of the seed is optimum, so there will be a optimum germination and there will be the optimum vigor, so that it can perform well in the field condition, and there will be optimum viability, so that in the storage it can be stored for a longer period of time. And also we have seed moisture content. If there is the moisture content of the seed is in the optimum range, then only during storage they won't be get attacked by the pest and diseases. So all of these are the seed quality attributes, starting with germination, vigor, viability, moisture content, also genetic purity and physical purity. So how this genetic purity is very important for us? See, the yield of a certain variety is directly related to the genome content that we have incorporated in particular variety, right? So if in this case, if the seed itself get deteriorated because of some off types or unwanted pollination during the production, so ultimately what we are getting as a seed or the yield, it will be decreased because it is not genetically pure. So this has also a direct effect on the yield. So this is how the seed quality plays a major role in terms of seed production or the outcome. So this is about to increase the agriculture production. Second one is rapid multiplication. Third one is timely supply, and fourth one is assured quality of the seeds, and lastly it's a reasonable price. So these are all the certain goals of the seed technology. So these are the main important goals of a seed technology: to maintain the agriculture production and the rapid multiplication of the seeds from time to time. And there is next option called as timely supply. So once the seeds are timely produced, they should reach the farmers during the particular season. And lastly, it's assured quality of the seeds. And we have also providing the reasonable price. This is all regulated by in the market by having the seed legislation in place in case of India. So I was talking about the seed quality attributes. Okay. So is there any background disturbance that you're getting? The noise that you are getting, is it disturbing a lot or is it fine? Because so the background noise that you are getting, is it manageable or okay, fine. So I was talking about the seed quality, right? So seed quality is assessed by seed quality attributes. If I ask you what are quality seeds, if I just ask you like what do you mean by quality seeds, how do you define this quality seed? So quality seeds, they are always defined in terms of seed quality attributes. So what are the different seed quality attributes? So they are genetic purity, physical purity, germination, seed vigor, the planting value, freedom from the weeds, which I have not talked before. This is also very important aspect where the weed, the weeds development in case of the field, in case of the seed production field, will have an impact on a seeds with the in case of mechanical mixtures. So it will impact the physical purity. So if there is the physical impurity of the seeds, the germination percentage that we see in the field stand will automatically decrease because the seed lot doesn't contain all the single variety of seeds. It will be the mixture of seeds because of some mechanical mixture. So that will ultimately affect the germination percentage. So this is how it will affect the planting value. Okay. So this is about the planting value, freedom from weeds and other crops, and lastly, it's about seed health. So seed health, free from pest and diseases. This is how we define the seed health, right? So this particular formula, which I have written it here, which is pure life seed, this is also a quality attribute for the planting value. The planting value is generally evaluated in terms of pure life seed. See, the number of pure life seed will directly give you the planting value, or the planting value is assessed in terms of pure life seed. So what is the formula to find out this pure life seed? So the pure life seed is pure seed by 100, or that nothing but the pure seed percentage into germination percentage multiplied by 100. So this will give you the pure life seed. So I think this was asked in the SRF of 2021 for seed technology. So just remember the formula here, because they might also ask you for JRF, since it is very simple to understand. So just remember the formula that pure life seed is a quality attribute where the planting value is assessed, right? So this pure life seed is equal to pure seed percentage into germination percentage into 100. So these are the certain seed quality attributes, or the important seed quality attributes, which are directly responsible for the seed quality control. So we have also the other quality attributes, which are the seed size, weight, and specific gravity. So you might have heard that bigger the size of seeds. So if you just talk about the correlation, bigger the size of a seed will be directly proportional to increased vigor. So vigor of certain class of seeds or a certain species of a seed is directly depends on the size of a seeds. If the size of a seed is bigger, then it will have the increased vigor. If the size of a seed is low, then the vigor also decreases. So that is how the other characters such as seed size, weight, and specific gravity are actually contributing to the seed quality. So how weight? So weight generally contains seed filling, right? We have talked about the seed development in case of floral biology and seed physiology. So the seed filling is nothing but the enzymatic or the enzyme filling in case of endosperm or the embryo, right? So this will again have the positive impact on the weight. So if the seed storage reserves are more in case of seed, so ultimately the weight of a seed will increase, and this will have a higher ability to stand in a field. Okay, so this is how they are impacting the quality of seeds, and also the color. In certain class of seeds or certain species of the seeds, the black color has a higher disease resistance or pest resistance, that is also observed. So this is in case of soybean. So there are particular example of how this color pigments are impacting the yield of a crop. Might not be directly, but indirectly they are impacting the yield of the crop. Okay. So this is about seed color, seed size, weight, and specific gravity. So why I was talking about seed color is again because of the antioxidants that are present in the plants, right? So these antioxidants, we know, you know, that they will scavenge the oxygens. They are also called as oxygen scavenger. So this will have a reduction, or this will prevent the lipid peroxidation. So all these are linked to the seed deterioration. Since the antioxidants are present in the cell or present in the seed, seed deterioration will be prevented. So this is how they are impacting the quality of the seeds. So you need not to go in detail about all these things, but you should have a clear-cut understanding about what are the different factors that will have the impact on the quality seeds. So this is in brief about seed science and technology and seed quality attributes. Next, I'll just give you the overview of status of Indian seed sector. So if I ask you about, just tell me what you know about Indian seed sector, what are the different organizations that are involved and how they are regulated. So what you will answer, or how you will answer. So the first thing is, the seed sector or the Indian seed sector is not only controlled by the government, it is both by private and government organization, or private and public sector. So the seed industries in India is the network of public and private sectors. So if I talk about the public sectors, it all starts with Sorry. Yes, very good. It's NSC, SSC, ISTA, private companies. Okay. The ISTA, I don't think like it is involved in this public sector under India. This that is a different thing. We will discuss once we start our discussion with seed testing. Okay. So the public sector, nothing but they are by the government. So these government agencies will have to regulate two different fields mainly in case of seed technology. They are, or in case of agriculture, we can say, in case of agriculture, this public sector has to regulate the two different fields or two important fields. One is the crop improvement. Second one is seed quality control. So these are the two major fields where the government has to regulate, or government as a agencies or the organization which will regulate these two different fields. One is crop improvement and second one is seed quality control. So just can you tell me the different? Okay. So just wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Okay. Can you just name the organization which are involved in the crop improvement program in India? So can you just name them? Like what are the different organizations, like public sector organization, not private. I'm not asking about the private, the public sector organization which are actually involved in the crop improvement program. Yes, very good. It's AICRP. So can I just name it as ICR institutes? So all the ICR institutes have the main role or major function to play or function to give a qualities, not crop improvement. That is improvement of the existing crops or production of new varieties. This is what the ICR institutes does, right? It has its own research and development R&D facilities where year by year there will be a new varieties that will be released from different ICR universities, and this is specific to different crops. So yes, we also have NRC. What else? ASRP, ICR institutes, NRC. So just remember all the important NRC for different crops. So I have not listed this NRC now. I will just make a list and give you, but make sure to read them and remember. Oh, NRC for, like for NRC for grapes, where it is located? NRC for grapes. NRC for groundnut. So we have several crops where you need to remember where they are located. So just can you tell me like NRC grapes is located at which place? Yes, it's in Pune. What about groundnut? Yes, it is in Junagadh. So just make sure to remember all the NRCs for different crops. Yes, very good. So this is about the public sectors which are directly involved in the crop improvement. So I have just only talked about the ICR institutes, NRC, ASRP. What are the other institutes that you know which are directly involved in crop improvement or crop production? Not actually production of varieties. Yes, just think of any other institutes which are also involved in this crop improvement. You all are studying in, many of you are studying in those institutes. Yes, it's state agriculture universities which are also involved, or which will also play a major role in case of crop improvement. Yeah, international institutes are fine, but we are just talking about the Indian seed sector. Yes, so it is SAU and also the Central Agriculture Universities. So this is a broad class of categories of the organization which are directly involved in the crop improvement program. So this is done for now. So now we will discuss about the seed quality control. So can you just list out the different organizations which are directly involved in the quality control of the seeds? So till now we have talked about the crop improvement or production of new varieties of the crop. So this is all done. So now it comes to the seed production where we have to regulate the quality of seeds. So what are the different institutes which will regulate the quality of seeds? Yes, it's seed testing laboratories, which are also called as STLs, seed testing laboratories. Yes, very good. Yes, NSC, SSC, State Seed Corporation, National Seed Corporation. So National Seed Corporation, where it is located? And how many National Seed Corporation are there in India? Yes, fast. Like how many National Seed Corporation are there in India and where it is located? The main headquarters. So it is located in Delhi, and also there is only one National Seed Corporation in India, which is in New Delhi. Okay, and when was it established? It was established in 1963. So nextly we have state seed corporations. So how many state seed corporation are present at present? How many state seed corporation are there? So there are 17 state seed corporation in India right now. Okay, it was in 1963. NSC. Very good. So next, what is 29? I didn't get you. State seed corporation. Okay, see, there is a big mistake where the different author books are given different numbers for this, but remember that this is 17. The exact figure is 17 till now. So this is also, this particular data is also available in seed.net. You can just go through the web and website and search for seed.net, where you will get all the information regarding the different institutes and number of institutes that are located, like number of state seed corporation, how many are there, seed testing laboratories, how many are there. You will get the complete information on that. So we have only listed 3 different organizations. So what about the rest? Do we have any other organizations which will directly control the quality of seeds or regulate the quality of seeds, or which are involved in the regulation? What about SSCA? What is this SSCA? It's state seed certifying agencies. So how many state seed certifying agencies are there in total? In India, we have 25 state seed certifying agencies. So this will also contribute for seed quality control by certifying the seeds. So AOSA. Can you just tell me, like, AOSA, what is the full form of this AOSA? And where was this established for first time? Yes, anyone? AOSA, Association of Official Seed Analysts. If you are just typing, I will just wait for you all. Yes, it is Association of Official Seed Analysts. So when was it started? It was in 1908. So why we are talking about AOSA now? So it is in Seed Health. Okay, Seed Health Laboratory. So we are not talking of international organizations. So don't club all the different organizations. If you just club and just try to remember all of these things, you won't be able to remember. It will create the confusion again. So now we are talking about the organizations which are having some contribution for seed quality control in case of India. So the topic is, or the outline is regarding Indian status, current status of India in case of seed industries. Okay, we have listed out 4 different organizations, which is Seed Testing Laboratory, NSC, SSC, and also State Seed Certifying Agency. And also we have KVKs, which have some contribution, which has the direct contribution of seed quality control, where they will engage the farmers in the seed production and the village level. And how many KVKs are there in present? According to my knowledge, it's 721. Okay, and also along with this, what do you call KVKs, we also have seed hubs. Seed hubs is the area where the major seed production will takes place. Yes. So these are the different institutes or the organizations which will have to major role to play in case of seed quality control. I hope like I have covered all this different organizations. So what about the private sector now? So if I talk about the private sector, it's FSII. It's a Federation of Seed Industry in India, and also NSAI. So it's a National Seed Association of India. These are the private sector. We have several private companies which will produce the seeds, or which are engaging themselves in the seed production and the quality control, out of which many have their own R&D facilities where they will be releasing the new varieties from their end. So this is also there in India. That is why the Indian seed sector is called as the network of both public and private sector. And so mainly private sector, we if you want to talk about, it's FSSI, FSII, and NSAI. Okay. So, what is the main mandate of these crop improvement organizations? The main mandate is to produce the high yielding varieties. So, first domain consists of the crop improvement, where its main motto is to produce the high yielding varieties, and the second one is the quality control, where the released varieties will be multiplied, and the multiplied seeds, the quality of these multiplied seeds will be regulated by these different organizations. Again, starting with the multiplication, it will all starts with these organization. So this is about the overview of Indian seed sector, or status of Indian seed sector. So if the seed production has to be taken place, who will provide you the indent? So the indent will be received by the government of India every year. So once the indent is received by the India, by both the privates and public sectors and different institutes, they will give this indent to the AICRP of different crops. Based on the crops, they will divide, and this is how the breeder seed production takes place, and this is continued till certified seed production. So we will discuss in detail all the different classes of seeds, and why it is very much important to have these different classes of seeds, and how these different classes of seeds are actually regulating the quality. We will discuss all of these things in detail. Okay. So out of this public and private sector, so public sector are mainly focusing on low value and high volume crops, but the private sector, they are mainly focusing on a profitable basis, where their main focus will be on high value low volume crops. That is in case of vegetables. So as you all know, like vegetable seeds, like hybrids of vegetable seeds, the cost is very high. They are mainly concentrating on the production of those hybrids, but the public sector, it also gives the emphasis for the high volume low value crops such as wheat, paddy, and all. So this is mainly done by the public sectors, and the private sectors are mainly focused on the high value low volume crops. So this is just a brief overview of Indian seed sector. And I also mentioned the different things which can come in the current affairs sections, whereas it is about the global seed market and Indian share in this global seed market and everything. So you can just go through these notes once after the class and just revise these things, because you might also expect all these questions in case of agriculture current affairs. Okay, anything related to seed or anything just related to agriculture. So make sure to cover it once. Since they are just factual, I'm not going to explain all of these things now. Next, we can talk of Indian history of seed industry in India. So if I just talk about the history of seed industry in India, before independence, it all started with the Royal Commission of Agriculture, which was constituted by the recommendations of the different committees that were established at that time. And it was in 1925, this Royal Commission of Agriculture was set up. So this Royal Commission of Agriculture gave the following recommendations. That is, there should be a separate organization within the agriculture that has to deal with seed testing and distribution. This was a major recommendation that was given by this Royal Commission of Agriculture. And also next, the seed distribution should be made to the cooperative societies so that it will reach the farmers, so at the village level. So this was the second major recommendation. And also it gave the importance to the private seed growers, where public, like government itself cannot handle all the seed production of all the crops, and it cannot provide it to the farmers. The reach is very less, and the infrastructure facilities that are available and the manpower that is required, it cannot be maintained by the government itself, right? So it has that is the reason the Royal Commission has also recommended to involve these private seed growers, so that they should be given encouragement, so that they will have their own R&D facilities, which will help in increasing the value of the seeds or the seed industry in India. Okay, so I have just given the complete timeline of events that has been taken place, starting with the establishment of Royal Commission of India. Just go through all these committees and just try to remember the name and what are their contribution. R&D is nothing but research and development. That's it. R&D facilities means like most of the seed companies like Bayers or Syngenta, and also like pesticide companies we have, and also Carteva. All of these companies have their own research and development facilities where they are not dependent on the government for new variety to be released. So they are doing their own research and they are coming up with the new varieties or new hybrids for themselves. So this is how they are contributing in the development of the country. Okay. So I was just talking about the timeline of events. I just mentioned everything in detail. So just go through the things, and the important things that you should notice. Just go as per the timeline and just remember what are the different events that has been taken place and the major years that are to be remembered. So just make sure to remember all of these things. And mainly we have the 5-year plans in the India, and the major development of the agriculture has been taken place in these different 5-year plans. Just go through these five-year plans. It will be duration of 5 to 6 years in case of years, so that it all started with 1951. So under these 5-year plans, there are different institutes, committees, organizations that were formed, and this is how the seed industry got developed, and this is how it looks presently. Okay, so just go through all of these things. Since I'm just repeating the same thing since they are all factual, so just read them once. There is nothing to be explained here. If I just do it, explain all these things, it will consume a lot of time. So we'll just directly jump into the seed legislation part. Okay. Okay. So what is the purpose? What was the purpose of legislation? The basic purpose of the legislation and its subsequent enforcement that was brought in India is just to regulate the main focus or the principle, or also you can say the objective. The main objective was to regulate the quality of the seeds sold to the farmers. So before the mid of 19th century, the most of the Indian farmers were using the farm safe seeds. They were not buying the seeds because they are not aware of this quality of the quality seeds, and they are not aware of the difference between the quality seeds and the seeds that they used in the farm so saved seeds. So they are not aware of this difference, and because of this reason they are majorly using their farm safe seeds before mid of 19th century. Once the awareness was created, and gradually it was shifted from the using the farm safe seeds to the use of quality seeds. So once this usage got increased from time to time, the availability of these quality seeds decreased, because earlier the people who were using these quality seeds were very less. But since because of the awareness that was created in the mid of 19th century, and also because of green revolutions where the high yielding varieties were introduced in India, so everyone just started using the quality seeds, and they got to know that use of quality seeds will have the direct impact on the yield. So in this particular timeline, there was a deficient or deficit of all these quality seeds. So that insisted for the requirement of the particular legislation, which has certain organization, committees, rules, policies, orders, which can regulate the quality of seeds, starting with the production until marketing. Okay, so because of this reason, the under seed legislation, we got this Seed Act, which was enacted in case of 1969, which is foremost important thing to remember, the date and the year. It was in 29 December 1969, Seed Act was passed, and after 3 years in 1969 of 2nd October, it came into the force. Okay, this is about the seed legislation. So if under seed legislation, we have Seed Act, different orders, policies, which were brought up by the government. Can you just name the different policies, orders, and also under the Seed Act or along with the Seed Act, which were enacted later after 1966. So as I told you, the Seed Act was enacted in 1966 and came into force in 1969. So can you just name any other order policies that were brought up by the government in order to regulate the quality of seeds? Yes, it was National Seed Product Project. So National Seeds Project was came into three different phases. What about any other policies order? We have so much, like at least we have 6 to 7 important policies, which I've also mentioned in case of our course outline. Yes, it is in case of, yes, it is seed control order. This was in 1983. And what about next? Seed Act in 1969. Next, it is seed control order. In between, there are three phases of national seed products projects that were brought up, and it was seed bill. Yes, seed bill for regulation of seed quality, but it has not passed yet. This is still pending. Yes, it is new seed developmental policy. New policy on seed development, that is in 1988 after the seed control order, and we have national seed policy in 2002. PPV FRA. Okay. So this PPV FRA has anything to do with quality control? Its main focus or main objective is the protection of plant varieties, just to give the breeder rights so that it will be they will be motivated and encouraged to produce the more and more varieties since they are enjoying the royalty. So this is what the PPFR is doing, like it is providing the protection to the varieties that are developed by the breeders. Not only breeders, any person who develop the new variety, it will check for its authenticity. Once it is authentic, it is confirmed that it is authentic, then it will provide the exclusive rights to the breeder or the person who has developed the variety, so that no other person can sow the seeds under any brand name without the permission of the person who has developed the variety, right? So this is about PPV FRA. But when we talk of quality control, these are the different policies that were enacted. So starting with Seed Act, it's a seed review team which was constituted, which gave the several recommendations. So based on which we got a National Commission of Agriculture Seed Group and also a National Seed Program that was launched in 1975 to 85 in case of three different phases, which majorly led into the establishment of state seed corporations, state seed certifying agencies, state seed testing laboratories, and breeder seed programs at the breeder seed programs at the state level. So this was all because of the national seed project or the national seed program that was launched in the three phases. Next, we have the seed control order and the technology or the creation of technology mission of oilseed and pulses, and now it is called as integrated scheme of oilseeds, pulses, oil palm, and maize, and this was in 1986. So it also enacted the distribution of seed mini kits for the effective distribution of the seeds to the farmers. And then we have a seed transport subsidy scheme that came into force, and we have new policy on seed development in case of 1988, and the new seed banks came in 2000, and we have the national seed policy that came into force in 2002, and latest is seed bill, which again got amended two different times. One is 2010 and latest by 2019, but it is not yet passed by the parliament. Okay, so these are the different policy initiatives that are being taken that have been taken place by the government once the Seed Act was enacted under the seed legislation. Just go through all these dates, just try to remember try to revise them from time to time. Okay, so if you just see the India map, so this is how it looks like in case of seed production areas. So if you just zoom it, you'll just get to see the different crops and majorly like which area is having the crop production of what are the different crops which are majority covering the different areas. you will get a like overview of all the different things, the production in terms of production aspects. So these are nothing but the seed ups. I told you about the seed ups. So the place where the seed production is taking place, they are just known as seed ups. So we have the different ups in case of India that are distributed throughout the India, but it is again specific for different crops. Not in every region like similar crops are grown. Okay, so you can just zoom it and see it after the class. No, now we can just elaborate this Indian Seed Act, and we shall just discuss the provisions under the Seed Act. As I told you, this came into force in case of 1960, like enacted in 1966 and came into force in 1969. And in 1968, the seed rules were set up for regulate this Seed Act. In the 1968, the seed rules were framed, and that is why in the 69 it took 3 years for it to came into force, because of the fact that seed rules were published only after 1968. Since it took time 3 years of time to publish these rules, so the Seed Act came into force in 1969. So talking about the amendment, it's not like the Seed Act has never got amended. So it got amended in case of 1972 in 5 different sections. So before that, how many sections are there in the Seed Act? There are of 25 sections. So out of these 25 sections, again in 1972, there were the major changes in case of 5 different sections. So you need not to worry about all the changes and all, but at least try to remember that there are 25 different sections, and it was the amendment that took place in case of 1972. So what are the major provisions? If I just ask you, just tell me about the Seed Act, and or just tell me the silent features of a Seed Act in a one sentence, what will you say me? How will you answer me? If you want to just explain this Seed Act, or give a brief overview of what is Seed Act and what are the provisions, and what you will say? Yeah, it's labeling, but you didn't complete the sentence. It is called as, I believe like you all have heard this particular sentence: voluntary certification and compulsory labeling. So this is the first and foremost mandate of Seed Act 1966. Yes, there is penalty, there is import export, there is seed cell standards, production, labeling, but the first and foremost mandate of the Seed Act is voluntary certification and compulsory labeling, and this is applied to notified seeds or non-notified seeds. So this is in particularly applied to notified seeds, not to the non-notified. So non-notified seeds will not come under the Seed Act or the purview of the Seed Act. Only the regulation of the notified seeds will be under Seed Act. Once the variety is notified, if we just talk of the process, the development of the variety will take place. Once the variety is developed, there will be stational trials and AVT, advanced varietal trials. So that is multi-locational trials. So once the multi-location trials are done, the yield data is collected. Once the data is collected, they are presented in the workshop, annual workshops. So in the annual workshops, the variety will be identified and released. So once the variety is identified and released, the next step will be the farmer or the breeder can either go into the process of notification or directly sell this as the seeds. So once he comes to notify his seeds, if he notifies his seeds, then these particular seeds will come into under the purview of Seed Act. So once he notifies the seeds, again he might either go with certification or he can sell the seeds without certification. Even with or without certification, this labeling is compulsory. See, if you are going for certification, you need not to show any label, because already you will get a tag with the certificate from the certification agency. But if you are not going for the any type of certification by certification agency, you need to label your seed lot with certain standards. So what are the seed standards which we have discussed earlier? It's purity, germination, moisture content, free from pest and diseases, So number of other crop seeds, all of these standards should be mentioned in case of label. Okay, so and this labeling is very much compulsory in case of notified variety, so which will come under the purview of Seed Act, Indian Seed Act 1966. So this is just an overview of Indian Seed Act, how it is controlling the quality of seeds. So if I just want to talk of 25 different sections, these are the 25 different sections, out of which it's very much compulsory to remember these two different sections. It's very good if you remember all the 25 different sections, but at least you have to remember the section 5 and section 9. Why? Because section 5 talks about the power to notify any kind or varieties, and the 9 talks about the grant of certificate by the certification agency. Okay, so this is why these two sections are very much important. Just make sure to revise it from time to time. So I also mentioned who will appoint the seed inspector. It is by state government. These type of questions can also be asked in the exam. The seed inspectors are appointed by the state government, not by the central government. See, the Seed Act was enacted all over India. It was by central government, but the inspectors that are appointed under the Seed Act will be by the state government. So you need not to confuse it and write it as central government. It's by state government where how the seed inspector are appointed. And also it is true for seed analyst. Okay, so these are the 25 different sections under Seed Act. So if you just see here, I have written the seed inspector. So why the seed inspectors are necessary? So for example, just listen to me very carefully. So you have certain class of seed, not class of seed, certain seed of certain varieties, at least of 100 to 120 kg or more, any quantity of varieties or any quantity of seeds. So you want to sell those seed in the market. The first process is, if you want some recognition, so that the farmers or whoever is buying, or the consumer whoever is buying, if you want to see in the position that or perspective that he will just come and see it as authentic seeds, right? So for that you should go for certification. If you are certifying your seeds by the government agencies, so obviously like farmers or any consumer will think that, okay, since they are certified by the under the regulation of the government, it will have the optimum quality. This is how it is done. Seeing the label, that is certified seed label, your seeds will get recognition and you can increase your selling. But if your company is already established, if you are already established from several years, you need not to go for any type of advertisements or any type of certification. You can just label the seeds yourself, seed lot yourself, you can just market the seeds. But in the first case, if you are going for notification, after notification for some reason you don't do the certification. So if you don't do the certification, if you sell the seed as it is, so there are certain standards that you should follow. It's not like if any person or any consumer will come and buy your seeds, if they doesn't satisfy the labeling standards, so you will be imprisoned, or the person who is selling the seed will be imprisoned, or the fine has to be paid from him. So this is how it works. So all this type of regulation is by the seed inspector, where he will be regularly inspecting the seed lots, the seed market, where the place where the seeds are sold, and also before certification, after certification. Before certification, it's a role of seed certifying officer who will control or who will regulate the quality of seeds. Once seeds enter the market, this is in the hands of seed inspector, who will go for regular rounds under his jurisdiction, where he will be regulating the quality of seeds by random sampling and just sending the sampling to the seed testing laboratories. Once this he sends the sample to seed testing laboratories, it is by the seed analyst who will just test those seeds for the certain standards like germination, physical purity, and the moisture content. So this is what the seed analyst will do, and you will just give the results to seed inspectors. If these results are just matching the labeling standards, then it is fine. But if they are not matching, the seed inspector will seize the lot, and he will just inform to the appellate authority or the competent authority above him. So this is how it works in case of Seed Act. So we have also certain provisions under the Seed Act other than just quality control, like recognition of the seed certifying agency in the foreign countries, and also they have the importance has been given to the export and the import, where there is a complete restriction on the import and export if they are not meeting the standards. It's not like there is complete ban. Only if they are meeting the standards, then only there is a provision of export and import of any kind of varietal seeds. Okay, so this is about seed quality control. So if you have just correctly understood my point, can you just tell me any major flaws that is there in this seed act? Just think of it. If you have just clearly understood what I have said till now, just think in the perspective of you are a seed producer or a seed dealer or a consumer. So what is the major lacuna that you will see in this seed act? Meaning, I didn't get you, like what meaning you are saying? Yes, this is for everyone. Just think of it. Like, what is the major lacuna of this seed act 1966 based on what I have explained till now? Okay, my question is, till now I have explained you the seed act and different provisions under the seed act. So what is the major flaw or the lacuna, or the you can also tell it as a disadvantage of this act, or any specific rule is lacking here, or any kind of limitations, or the limitations of the seed act 1966? Okay, let us take it as a limitations of seed act 1966. Okay, okay, I will just explain this. Listen to me very carefully. So I have just mentioned about the notified varieties, and I also showed you like how the notification is done. I not explained the process of notification, but I told you like what are the different events until notification. And this notification is by the government. The government will do the notification, and it is by central seed committee which will look after this notification process and all. And where the central seed committee has a central subcommittee which will notify these varieties. Yes, I think varieties are not included. Yes, it's non-notified varieties. So till now, whatever I have talked, it was about the notified seeds. So even in the seed act, it's clearly mentioned that once the notification is done, there should be compulsory labeling. There should be compulsory labeling. So this is how the quality of the seeds is controlled in market. So this is for notified seeds. But in the first place, if the seed dealer or the seed producer is not notifying his seeds, or is taking the seeds into the market without any notifications, so it doesn't come under the purview of seed act. So there is no as such regulation under seed act to regulate the quality of these non-notified seeds which are not notified. So he is free to sell these seeds at any standard. There is no the specific or prescribed standards that he should maintain in order to sell these seeds in the market, because what the seed inspector that are appointed by the state government, they have the authority or power to seize whatever seeds that are sold in market which are only notified. So he cannot go and just show his power, or he cannot just seize the seeds of non-notified varieties, because it doesn't come under the purview of seed act 1966. So just following this lacuna and observing these particular limitations, seed control order came into existence in case of 1983. So what is the main mandate of this seed control order? So what is the main mandate of the seed control order? It's about dealership license. So the dealership license, like whosoever is selling the seeds in the market, he should acquire a certain license, which is called as dealership license, which is valid for 3 years. And this validity is now extended to 5 years. So in the book, it is still 3 years, but based on the latest amendment, it is for 5 years now. Okay, so this seed dealership license, because of issuing this license, the government will have the direct control over the seed dealers. See, if any person who is willing to sell the seed in the market as a seeds, not in terms of grains, I'm not talking about the grains, as a seeds. If the seeds that he is selling will be used as again the sowing material, then that person will have to get a compulsory license, which is called as dealership license. This is how the government will control the seed dealer. And the second one is compulsory labeling. So earlier the compulsory labeling was limited to non-notified varieties, but under seed control order, again there will be appointment of seed control order inspectors. There are again seed inspector under the seed control order who can go and inspect any type of seeds, whether it is notified or non-notified. So he has a power or authority to go and search, seize all the varieties or all the seeds of both notified and non-notified. It doesn't there is no objection for only seeing the notified. You can also search for non-notified. The complete seeds or whatever seeds that are sold in the market, the seed inspector has a power to seize those seeds if they are not maintaining the standards. So I told you about the compulsory labeling. So this compulsory labeling was again extended to non-notified seeds, where you should do the compulsory labeling for all the seeds that you sell in the market, whether it is notified or non-notified. Since now compulsory labeling is compulsory for all the classes of seeds, whether not notified or not. So whenever the seed inspectors inspect any kind of sample, so he will just check for the seed standards, that is labeling standards that are mentioned in the label. If he gives this particular sample to the seed analyst, after the evaluation, if he finds out that the standards are not maintained, again he can seize the seeds. And this in case of this particular type of infringement, you will be able to, like, the fine will be also given, and also the seed dealership license can be also cancelled. This dealership license will be also cancelled in certain cases. So this is how seed control order came into play, and this is how it is presently regulating the seed market, Indian seed market, because of seed the dealership license and the compulsory labeling. So I am just repeatedly talking about the compulsory labeling. So what are the different standards that are mentioned in this label? So these are the list or the factors that are mentioned, or the standards that are mentioned in the label. It contains the name of the kind, variety, the lot number, the date of test, the inert matter, germination percentage, net contents, the weed seeds, number of weed seed, other crop seeds, pure seed percentage, and the seller name, whosoever is selling the seeds. If it is treated with any chemical, it should mention that do not use for food or oil purpose. So these are all the different things that should be mentioned in case of label. Label is nothing but piece of paper which is in the prescribed form, where there will be a option of all the different things that I have written it here, so that he has to fill it the name of all these things, and he should sell those seeds. In case of seed lot, the seed lots that he will sell should have this label on the lot. So this is about seed control order. Clear? So it's already been 1 hour. We can just continue in the next class. I won't just extend this much. So we can just continue in the next class, and in the next class we'll start our discussion with new policy on seed development, and then we'll cover the national seed policy and latest by seed bill. After completion of seed bill, we'll talk of variety identification release, what are the different process involved, and I'll just brief out all these things, because in detail they are not required for you all, but they might ask you some direct questions from the organization, or who is the authority and how the process is going on, or the sequence of steps that they are taking place. So you might expect these type of questions. So for that sake, I'll just try to cover in a very simplified manner. Okay. and also we will also discuss the plant production, that is PPV FRA. Is that clear? Okay. Any doubts? Like if you people have any doubts, you can just ask me now. Based on whatever I have explained till now, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, fine. If there are no doubts, we'll meet in the next class. Okay, thanks for attending.